Now that price has collapsed, certainly collapsed on course and on the exchanges. 13 to 8 he opened up, and he's into 5 to 4 now under Sceaux. Then we have God's Own, 7 to 2. He was 9 to 2 this morning. He's into 7 to 2. Weakness in the market behind the Gary Moore pair. Sire to Grugy at 9 to 2. He's had 7 races here at Sandown. He's won 4 of them, and 2 of those are Tingle Creek. And Ahmad 9 to 2, out to 5 to 1. Now, favourites record in the race in the last 20 years. 10 favourites have obliged in the Tingle Creek. I'm going to ask the boys in the studio. I'm going to ask Mick and Graham. Is this too short under Sceaux at 5 to 4?
Harvey wins.
Well, there was plenty of 2 to 1, as we know, this morning, so you've missed the bus in terms of value, but it is indicative of sizable strength in the market behind a horse who he has quite a lot of detractors. For a horse who wins so many big races, there were plenty out to get him, but it looks like the heavy hitters, the people who bet in thousands and 500s rather than 5s and 10s, are more than happy to think that everything's bang right for under Sceaux.
Do you think as well the fact that Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh, their first big foray across the water is with this horse, and do you think they think, right, come on, this must mean something?
I wouldn't use the word needle, but they would love to make a statement today. After everyone's been jangling about Douvan this week and giving their tuppence worth, they'd like to say, yes, we've been away for a while, but don't forget about us. We've still got plenty of top quality horses. The key tactical element is clearly Ahmad, that horse in the foreground there, and whether Ruby Walsh, right of picture under Sceaux, engages Ahmad early and they, go head to head.
I don't think he will. I think he'll let Ahmad have his way, because they tried to ride under Sceaux that way in France last year. I think if they try to mix it on the front end with him, with under Sceaux, he's so exuberant first time out. We've seen that with him in the past. He's ended up on the floor a couple of times first time out because he is so exuberant. I'd be much happier to see him get over those first 3 fences. Then I think he'll get into a much better rhythm. We saw that with Altior. He was a little bit shaky in the early part of the race, but once they warm up here, you can then start to ride a race on.
God's Own, the ground could be a little on the dead side, but he's a high-quality, consistent Grade 1 horse. Ruby doesn't look like he's about to set off and really be super aggressive. I think he's going to be very content to let Josh Moore go on Ahmad, who jumps really aggressively. Under Sceaux, you've ridden tons and tons of good quality 2-mile chases. He's not a buccaneering jumper, is he? He's more of a measured jumper.
Yeah, he is, and he's one that he can fly out of your hands, and I think Ruby will be just trying to temper that a little bit and keep wraps on him. He won't want to see him too excited, but Richie is down at the start. He can tell us how these horses are down there.
Not quite at the start, Mick. I'm hanging out more near the finish. But never mind, I did manage, as you say, to speak to Ruby before the race. He seemed to be pretty confident that under Sceaux was going to run up to his best, but the only thing is that I think he was trying to highlight the quality of opposition against him today. And when you consider the fact that under Sceaux, didn't probably jump as well as he can do when he last ran here at Sandown, I don't think that was too much of an issue. What Ruby's probably more concerned with is the strength of the opposition.
And they're about to line up. The starter has his flag raised for this Betfair Tingle Creek Chase. Grade 1, £150,000 in guaranteed prize money. And Ahmad and under Sceaux, the 2 front runners in the field, setting off together. Followed by God's Own in third on the inside of Sire, Grugy, the grey Vibrato Valtat, and Sir Valentino as they fly over the first, and Vibrato Valtat was down on his nose, and now quickly on to the open ditch, and it's Ahmad by 3 or 4 lengths under Josh Moore from under Sceaux in second place. Great jump by the leader. God's Own makes a mistake there and loses a bit of impetus and ground as they race up in front of the stands, and the exuberant Ahmad leading the way from under Sceaux, held in check by Ruby Walsh in second place. Sire Grugy, the dual winner 2013 and 15 in third place, then Vibrato Valtat, then God's Own, now only 5th of the 6th after that early mistake, and Sir Valentino, his stable companion, held up in last place by Noel Feely. So swinging the right-hander, and Ahmad from under Sceaux, who's tugging away as he often does in second place. Sire Grugy quite nicely relaxed in third, and then a gap of 3 lengths to God's Own on the inside of the grey Vibrato Valtat, and finally Sir Valentino. So heading down the hill, freewheeling down the hill, Ahmad comes into this flame fence over in front from under Sceaux as they approach the right-hander into the back straight. Sire Grugy, Jamie Moore in third place. Then God's Own, Vibrato Valtat, and 4 lengths last to Sir Valentino. On now to the first of the 7 down the back. Ahmad comes in to take it, stands right off, lands 4 lengths clear of Under. So now going further ahead, going to the next. Ahmad accelerating over the next, 6-7 lengths clear of Under. So, and then Sire Grugy, now an open ditch. Ahmad comes in to take it. Oh, he was long. He was long. He just got to the other side, only just. But he's got a 10-length lead now. This is an exuberant horse, this Ahmad, as they run halfway down the back straight. Ahmad from in second, Under Sceaux, jumping the water. Not good again, the leader there. Sire Grugy, his stable companion, right there on the inside, the red jacket. Then God's Own, Vibrato Valtat on the right, and then Sir Valentino, the first of the railway fences. And Ahmad not so far ahead, and now down on his nose there, and his jumping has just fallen apart over the last 2 or 3, and Under Sceaux is left in front under Ruby Walsh. Ahmad trying to come back. Sire Grugy right there. Then God's Own and Vibrato Valtat, the last in the back straight. Under Sceaux put himself right, but shadowed all the while by the former champion chaser, Sire Grugy, into second place ahead of his stable companion Ahmad. Then God's Own, Vibrato Valtat, and Sir Valentino. So making their way now on towards the third last fence, the pond fence. It will be jumped, and Under Sceaux and Ruby Walsh, the favourite, out in front by a couple of lengths to Sire Grugy. Making their way towards this fence, God's Own working his way into third under Adrian Heskin. Here now, the pond fence, Under Sceaux, Sire Grugy driven into the fence in second place as they run to the final bend, and Sire Grugy is looming up on the outside of Under Sceaux now as they race on towards the second last. These two looking each other in the eye. Here's the second last. Under Sceaux got in tight and blunders. Sire Grugy right level on landing. They head on towards the final fence. God's Own back in third, trying to reel them in. Under Sceaux finding a bit extra. Sire Grugy on the right at the last. Under Sceaux and Sire Grugy only a half length between them. God's Own running on well on the far side. Sire Grugy wearing down Under Sceaux as they race up towards the line. Head to head, toe to toe. Under Sceaux finding a bit extra. Under Sceaux pulling out all the stops to win the Tingle Creek. From tight second, God's Own and Sire Grugy. Ahmad rallied well. In fourth place, he'll get a good bit further. Then Sir Valentino and Vibrato Valtat. What a memorable race. Under Sceaux has pulled it out of the fire here. A little close into the last 2 fences under tremendous pressure from the challenge from old Sire Grugy, and God's Own snapping at their heels. But Under Sceaux has run on so gamely.
It was a steeplechase made by the gods, the Tingle Creek. It rarely disappoints, and it's lived up to everything today. A truly thrilling finish. And Under Sceaux, the favourite, has won. He's a rattling good horse, and he's had to show speed and class and grit and determination. And Ruby Walsh is elated with that performance. He won it on the Great Corto Star. He won it on Swiss Magic. He's taken it for Willie Mullins on Under Sceaux, Willie's first big strike in Great Britain this season. But Sire Grugy laid it down to him from the pond fence, and the old stager, Rising 11, has run his heart out in a bid for a third Tingle Creek. It wasn't to be. He had to give best to the 8-year-old Under Sceaux. God's Own has run well. Ahmad, he rather ran too keenly early, but he stayed on to his credit to finish fourth. But it was Ruby Walsh who won it on Under Sceaux, his third Tingle Creek, and an elated Walsh is with Rishi Prasad. Great race.
It was a fantastic race, and Ruby, rightly, you've got a huge grin on your face. Looks like you derived an enormous amount of pleasure out of that victory.
It's always great. It's a great race, and I've been very lucky in the past to ride some wonderful horses in it. It's a great race to be part of. You know, Sire Grugy, being the champion that he is, he served it up to us. You know, I walked out to the second last, and but I got back on top, going to the last, you know, jumped this anyway, well, I'll win. And he put down on me. You know, when I got a hold and he started a rally, and you know, he battled all the way to the line. He's won over further. But look, it's brilliant.
When people talk about horses having courage, Ruby, and when they have to find for you, it's sometimes hard to describe it in words for people at home. But what he did for you down to those two last fences when Sire Grugy looked you in the eye. Can you just describe that for people?
It's a will to win, I suppose. It's no different maybe to a lot of humans, but I mean, when you look at this horse, he wears his heart in his sleeve. He got crunching fall in Leopardstown last Christmas, first time out, stood up and ran after the loose ones, jumped the last on his own and got back in front. He just has that natural want, a natural will to win. You know, he's a pleasure to ride. Virginie looks after him and rides him, and you know, she minds him like a pet. But they had herself and Willie had him spot on today. I didn't know how ready he was, but thank God he minded the jockey.
Ruby, it was a real spectacle and wonderful for us to watch. Well done.
Thanks a million, Rishi.